Alright, so I've been holding off sharing this story for a while because honestly, even thinking about it freaks me out. But here we are, and if nothing else, maybe someone out there has an explanation, or at least won't make me feel completely crazy. This happened about 2 years ago. My girlfriend and I had just moved into this old rental house on the edge of town. It wasn't anything special, kind of rundown, creaky floors, the usual old house charm, but it was cheap, and we were just starting out, so it felt perfect. The weird stuff started almost immediately. The first night we moved in, I remember hearing this faint tapping sound while we were unpacking. At first, I figured it was just the wind or maybe an animal outside, no big deal. But then it started happening every night, always the same. 3 slow taps, pause, then 3 more. It was coming from the attic, which of course we hadn't even looked at yet because the thought of going up there was already giving me the creeps. My girlfriend, Sarah, said I was overthinking it. She's the rational one, so she wrote it off as squirrels or maybe branches brushing against the roof, but it didn't feel like that. It was too deliberate, like someone was knocking, waiting, and then knocking again. About a week in, I decided to go up there and check it out. The attic entrance was one of those pull-down ladder things, and the second I opened it, this wave of cold air hit me. Not like a little draft, I'm talking full on. Why does it feel like a meat locker up there? Kinda cold. I climbed up anyway, flashlight in hand, trying to convince myself it was just bad insulation or something. The attic was weird. It was mostly empty except for a couple of old dusty boxes and a chair just sitting there in the middle of the space. Why is there always a random chair in creepy places? Like, who leaves that behind? Anyway, I didn't see anything unusual at first, but as I was shining the flashlight around, I noticed something scratched into one of the beams near the chair. It looked like tally marks, a lot of them carved deep into the wood. There had to be at least 50. My stomach did this little flip, but I told myself maybe the previous owner had a weird habit or something. I mean, what else could it be? I didn't find anything alive up there, so I closed it up and tried to forget about it. But then things got worse. A few nights later, we were watching TV when the power cut out. Not uncommon in old houses, right? Except the outage was only in our house. The neighbors still had their lights on. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. That's when we noticed it. The attic door was open, not all the way, just cracked, enough that you could see the black void beyond it. Sarah swore up and down she hadn't touched it, and I sure as hell hadn't either. I'm not proud of this, but I didn't go up there to check that time. Nope, I just shut it and locked the latch, hoping that would be the end of it. Spoiler, it wasn't. After that, Sarah started waking up in the middle of the night. She said she'd hear footsteps walking around the house, slow and heavy. I never heard them myself. I'm a deep sleeper, but I could see the fear in her eyes every morning. She wasn't the type to get scared easily, and it was really starting to wear on her. Then, one night, I finally heard it. I woke up around 3 a.m. to the sound of footsteps above us, right in the attic. They were slow, deliberate, like someone pacing back and forth. My heart was pounding, but I told myself it had to be an animal. Maybe I hadn't checked thoroughly enough before. I tried to go back to sleep, but then the footsteps stopped, right above our bedroom. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I grabbed a baseball bat from the closet and told Sarah to stay in the room. I pulled down the attic door as quietly as I could and climbed up, heart racing. The chair was still there, but now it was turned, facing the attic entrance. And on the seat of the chair was an old yellowed piece of paper. It had one word written on it in shaky handwriting: leave. That was it for me. I noped out of there so fast I nearly fell off the ladder. We packed a bag that night and stayed at a motel. The next day we called the landlord and told him we were breaking the lease. When we mentioned the attic, he got really quiet and then said, "Yeah, I understand. We've never been back to that house, and I've done my best to push the whole thing out of my mind. But sometimes I wonder who or what was up there, and those tally marks. I try not to think about what they might mean."